Hello everyone. So in this video I will show you how to do maintenance of the lead acid battery. I will show you the battery water, which is the distilled water. I will show how to observe the electrolyte level of battery using float indicator, and I will show also how to measure the cell's voltage using multimeter one by one. We all know that inside the battery there is an electrolyte, which is the mixture of distilled water and sulfuric acid, which is mixed in the ratio 3:1, in which 3 part is distilled water and 1 part is sulfuric acid. So let me explain first about distilled water. Distilled water is water that has been boiled into vapor and condensed back into liquid in a separate container. When water is boiled, the water gets evaporated while the impurities remains in the original container. Thus, distilled water is one type of purified water. But don't get it wrong. Maybe you think that we can use filtered water also as distilled water. The answer is no, because filtered water is a purified water, but it is not purified enough that we can use it in the battery. Let me explain you how to pour distilled water into the battery. First, open your battery cap and look inside. Distilled water should be added into the cells so that no metal lead surfaces are visible. Most batteries will have a fill line indicating where the electrolyte level should be. The maximum fluid level is approximately ½ inch below the cap. Do not overfill your batteries, you don't want them to spill. The plates of every cell in your battery bank must be submerged at all times, and most batteries require addition of water every 6 to 12 months. Now, maybe you had a question that why we need to add distilled water every 6 to 12 months. Let me tell you, when battery is charging, heat is developed inside the battery, thereby causing the surface of the electrolyte to evaporate. In this way, battery water is lost as days and months pass by. Another question, why we add only distilled water, why not acid? So to explain that, let me give you an example. If you were to fill a pot with salt water and put it on your stove to boil, what happens? All the water will boil off and you will be left with only salt. To recreate the original salt water mixture, you simply add straight water, because all the original salt is still in the pan, waiting to be resuspended in the water. Batteries are the same way. All the chemical needed to make sulfuric acid is still in the battery. It is just the water that is gone. If you add more acid, you will be changing the chemical makeup of the battery, which can lead to an incorrect sulfuric content. This is a float indicator is used to check the level of distilled water inside battery. If the indicator is below the red lines, then the battery needs to be filled up with distilled water. And this is the way of filling distilled water. You will see that the picture number 1 that the water level is too high, and the picture number 2 that the water level is correct, and in the picture number 3 that the water level is too low. So distilled water should be filled like in picture number 2. Suppose our battery didn't provide the power as expected. A battery that needs to stand for 6 hours but it drained out for only 4 hours. If this type of problem arises, then we need to check the cell voltage of battery one by one. There is 2 ways in which we can measure cell voltage. The first method is measuring cell voltage using multimeter, and the second method is measuring specific gravity of electrolyte using hydrometer. In this video, I will show you only the first method. The second method I will show you in the next video. Now, let me show you how to measure the cell's voltage using multimeter. This is a lead acid battery whose rating is 12 volt 20 ampere hour. Since it is a 12-volt battery, so it has 6 cells. This is cell number 1, this is cell number 2, this is cell number 3, this is cell number 4, this is cell number 5, and this is cell number 6. So, since it is a 12-volt battery, so it means that each cell has 2 volts. This is a float indicator which is used to check the level of distilled water inside the battery. Since this indicator is in the blue circle line, this means that the distilled water level is good. But if this indicator falls to the red circle line, it means that the distilled water level is low. Now, let's measure the cell voltage one by one. First of all, we have to arrange our multimeter in this way. And then we need to put the reading in DC and put it in a 12-volt DC. In fact, to do this test, we have to wear a protective goggles and a chemical resistant rubber gloves. But since here in our lab we don't have that, so I have to be careful so that the electrolyte didn't touch my hand. This is a distilled water, so we have to pour this inside the battery. If this indicator fall down in this red circle line. Now let's open the cap of the battery one by one. So you see that the electrolyte cover all the plates. So if you pour distilled water, make sure that it cover all the plates of the battery. Now we will put positive terminal here and negative terminal here, and the voltage that we will get is the voltage of this first cell. If I pour distilled water here, it doesn't mean that this distilled water will flow here, 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 here. If I pour distilled water here, it means that only this cell will full, and I need to add distilled water one by one. I need to add here, 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 and here also. Now, let's measure the voltage of cell number 1. So, the voltage of cell number 1 is 1.59. Now, let's open the cap of cell number 2. The voltage of cell number 2 is 2.06. Now, let's open the cap of cell number 3. The voltage of cell number 3 is 2.01. Now, let's open the cap of cell number 4. So, the voltage of cell number 4 is 2.06 0.03. Now let's open the cap of cell number 5. So the voltage of cell number 5 is 2.03. Now let's open the cap of cell number 6, which is our last cell. And the voltage of cell number 6 is 1.99. Now let's put back all the cap of the cell. Now let's measure the total cell voltage. So the total cell voltage is 12.31. But only this cell number 1 has less voltage, that is 1.59. To solve this problem, we have to do a charge equalization so that all the cells have equal voltage, that is 2 volts. And if this float indicator is fall down to a minimum value, then we need to add distilled water. We can add distilled water directly here, or we can add using funnel also. So that's all about today. In the next video, I will show you how to measure specific gravity using hydrometer.